I'm holding fast. Yeah. Okay, you can take it away, Violet or Annie. I don't.
Okay, Annie, Annie's out today, but I will do the roll call really quick.
Thank you.
We have myself, Violet Plummer, Allison Franz, Ann Hughes, Brian West, Chris Lonsberry, Emmy Bristow, Eric Dixon, Jason Emery, Kyla Leonards, Mel Fisher, Sarah Bell, Cindy Kennedy, Matt Liao, MCAT, Roberta Smith, Kajana Stutzer, and Susan Kohler. And then in 206, it looks like we have Commissioners Strohmeyer, Slotnick, and Vero. Did I miss anybody?
No, thank you.
Okay, take it away, Juan.
Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, we have consent agenda, 3 items.
So those folks in the Sunset Water District just figure their own stuff out.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
We want them read or just?
Oh, okay. So the consent agenda is.
I don't know if we need to or not.
Chris last time said that we did not need to, but this is an Infotech subscription, Sunset Water West Water District, RSID, second round of ARPA application for improvements to the Lola water system.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oops, was there any further comments? Now all in favor? Aye. Okay, Cindy Kennedy with the CDBG application to Department of Commerce.
Good morning. Yeah, so we are working on a grant application, a community development block grant application for the Poverello on behalf of the Poverello that will need to be submitted by Missoula County. And this is the Clark Fork Inn project to rehabilitate and construct new apartments for the Housing Montana Heroes program, which will be non-congregate transitional housing for veterans that are experiencing homelessness. So this first item is I'm requesting that the board approve the chair to sign the resolution to authorize the submission of the CDBG application to the state of Montana Department of Commerce for the grant to partially fund the Poverello Center Veteran Housing Project. And this grant is $600,000, which is great. They've raised the amount. It used to be $450,000. Oh, wow. Do you want to launch into the next item too, because it's related, or do you want to just?
Yes, go. Great idea. Thanks.
So the next item similarly is a request for the board to approve the chair to sign the CDBG certification for application to the state of Montana Department of Commerce for the $600,000 CDBG grant for the Poverello Housing Montana Heroes program. And this document is rather lengthy, but it is a long laundry list of all of the applicable state and federal laws associated with the Community Development Block Grant Program and the state's Montana Department of Commerce requirements that we need to comply with in order to be eligible for those funds. So you're basically saying that we will be in compliance with all of those state and federal laws and requirements. Are there any questions?
And I'm trying to find, it's just my packet's not coming up on my phone, but how many units are we hoping for?
Unit, you mean funding?
Sorry, no, not the dollar units. The how many units will we be at the Clark Fork Inn?
The part, it's 20 units.
20, okay.
So they currently have funding from the VA to support 20 veterans in their congregate shelter. The VA has asked that they, the Poverello and any facility that has these this program transition to non-congregate, and so they have to continue to support 20 because that's what they're funded from the VA to support. So it'll be 20 units.
Great, thank you.
All right, I would move we approve items 1 and 2.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much, Cindy. This is super exciting.
Great project. They're lucky to have you working on it.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you very much. Enjoy your Friday.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
you too.
Thanks.
Eric Dixon with the gravel pit, Hendrickson site.
Yes, so if you recall, we purchased a 27-acre parcel out on Highway 10 West this past July, and we purchased that with the intent of developing it as a gravel source. Right now, our only gravel source is the Miller Creek pit, clear across town. So it's not only inconvenient to get material to our site, but it's also probably about 7 or 8 years away from being played out, depending on how much gravel we actually use out of there. So we've been looking for a gravel pit for a few years, and this opportunity came up. So we made the purchase. We hired a consultant to work on the open cut permit application, which is what we have here today. So he's completed all of the required information to this point. So at this time, we just need a signature from the chair to submit our application and begin the DEQ review process.
I've never signed a mining permit. An open cut.
An
mining
open cut is good, it's good.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Any discussions?
No, this is why we bought the land.
I
Yep.
would move we authorize the chair to sign the application.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Kyla, Animal Control Board.
Morning, commissioners. The current member that was on the board resigned, Jesse Monroe, as of 12/31/2021. We've had this application open. We had one new applicant, Paige Benton. So the request is to appoint Paige to the remainder of the seat term, which is through December 31st, 2023. Or you always have the option to leave the position open for alternate applicants if desired.
What's your pleasure?
Fine.
Yeah, let's appoint Paige.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So
Thank
grateful for Paige.
Yeah, I'm glad you stepped up.
Thank you. Correspondence? Discussion items. This is Missoula
one.
Aging Services. Okay, okay, Chris. I was thinking Susan.
Good morning, Commissioners. So we have members from Missoula Aging Services here today to talk to you about a request that you'll hear at your public meeting on Thursday afternoon. I will turn this over to them, but this is a request for a repeal and replace of a portion of the funding for Missoula Aging Services.
Good morning. I'm Susan Kohler, CEO of Missoula Aging Services, and I'd like to introduce Roberta Smith, who is the chair of our governing board. Roberta, would you like to start off?
I certainly will. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, good morning, Roberta.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm very happy to be with you today, and thank you for allowing us to speak with you about a very important issue. As Susan said, I'm Roberta Smith, and I'm currently the chair of the governing board for Missoula Aging Services. We are here today to make a special request to the Board of County Commissioners to place a 4 mil Missoula Aging Services levy on the June 7th, 2022 primary election ballot. This levy will allow Missoula County voters to make a decision to provide a modest increase in funding that will allow Missoula Aging Services to meet the growing demand for their services, such as Meals on Wheels, as our population of older adults and older residents continues to grow. Missoula County Commissioners established Missoula Aging Services in 1982, 40 years ago, with the mission to promote the independence, the dignity, and the health of our older adults and for those who care for them. This has been our mission and our passion over the past 40 years and will continue to be so as we move forward. The population of older adults in Missoula County has grown 40% from 2010 to 2019, and the population of those aged 75 and older has grown an additional 22% during that same time frame. It is expected by 2030 that 22% of Montana's population will be the age 60 and older. However, our county funding for the current aging services levy has remained unchanged since 2007, 15 years ago, where a flat rate of $350,000 per year was established with no adjustment for inflation or for this ongoing population growth. The Governing Board of Missoula Aging Services has given this request that we're asking of you a great deal of discussion and a great deal of thought, and we strongly and unanimously support this measure and this request that we are asking. The need to sustain the services provided by Missoula Aging Services is very clear to us. We have seen the need for our services continue to grow as people and demand has increased. And we've also seen the cost of providing those services to rise during this time. We have also provided with you today a letter signed by our members of our community that outlines the need for this important measure. And we ask your strong look at what we are asking. Thank you for listening to me. I will now turn it back over to Susan to explain more about the history behind this measure and also more detail as to what it entails. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Roberta. Do you have any questions for Roberta so far? We'll finish our presentation and then you might have some additional questions.
Great, we'll wait till you finish.
Okay. All right. So thank you again for the opportunity to present to you this morning a very important topic. My role in this is to talk a little bit about the history, and actually it was the county commissioners in 1982 who established Missoula Aging Services as a private nonprofit organization. And they did that for two primary reasons. One is for the purpose of becoming a single county, what is referred to as an area agency on aging. There are 10 in the state. We're considered number 7. And area agencies are to look at the broader role of aging in their service areas and provide input to policy and basically be the voice of older adults as the community grows. I've been here almost 39 of those 40 years, not in the current position I have, but for most of it. And we've grown substantially. And over that time, Ravalli County requested that they would be under our area agency on aging. And so in the late 90s, they became part of our service area with our role as an oversight, especially for the funding that comes in through the Older Americans Act and any state funding. So we provide, but this particular mill will be strictly for Missoula County. I do want to share with you, the second purpose, which it was the fact that even back then in 1982, the commissioners recognized there were a growing demand for services for aging. And at that time, there was a county core fund and people would come in and advocate for support to their organization. And the commissioners recognized by establishing this private nonprofit and appointing their governing board that they would have the opportunity or the benefit of having our organization do the strategic planning and establish priorities for older adults so that the money from the federal, state, any local funding would be established, the priorities would be established by that governing board so that you wouldn't be in the position of having to listen to a variety of groups coming in and asking you for support and making that kind of decision as it pertains to older adults. As you may know, we contract with the Missoula Senior Center. We also work with the community of Sealy Lake, Frenchtown, Lolo. Pretty much there isn't a place in Missoula County that we're not a part of. we consider ourselves, as I say, a one-stop shop for all things related to aging. We may not provide the service directly, although we do quite a bit, but we serve as the navigators and advocates of the long-term care system. So if if older adults come to us with their adult children or vice versa, or then we're able to listen and understand what their issues are and help them navigate through what resources are available to them to help them age in place. Or how do you choose a nursing home or assisted living, and all of those kind of resources. I think that's probably one of our more important for the broader community, is if you don't have the answers, start with us and we'll help you navigate. And let me tell you, navigating is becoming more and more difficult. We tend to be there in terms of advocating. People who go to sign up for Medicare are kind of stunned about the complexity of that program and the decisions that are being made. And we help people navigate through that. We're like a consumer education center for people. We have no financial interest. We're just interested in what's important to you. And we help first by providing educational programs on how to, we call Medicare 101. And then we can do personalized one-on-one consultations with people as they sort through that process. But also the complexities of Medicaid, people trying to understand what Medicaid can do for them, especially in our long-term care facilities, as people spend down into that category. We also help people identify other resources that might reduce their costs. And again, with Medicare, there's open enrollment every year, and we help people screen and decide whether there's another plan for them that might lessen their cost for prescriptions or for their supplemental insurance. And we also help people identify tax rebates or relief, like the 2EC program. And then we help people with other things like low-income subsidies for their Medicare Part B, et cetera. And I'll just tell you that this year, just to give you an example, we helped put back in the pockets of older adults $463,000 based on our helping them with reviewing their plans, tax credits, low-income subsidies, et cetera. And that's one of our goals. Then they can better support themselves as they age in place. And I have to say, unfortunately, we also help people with Social Security. Very complex. They don't have the kind of staffing they need with the baby boom population. So we're often there to help supplement education for Social Security and the increases and the details of that. I don't want to forget to share a couple of other things. One important fact is, over the last decade, I'll say, the first time in history, nationally, globally, and certainly in the state of Montana, we're seeing people live longer than they ever have before. It's not uncommon for 80s, 90s, and now 100s. And so sometimes we're serving an older adult and their adult child, because the adult child might be 70 and their parent might be in their late 90s or 100. So we serve 2 generations at this point. So you can imagine that we give you the figures of older adults, but it's much larger than that we're serving. And I think that's an important fact for people to know. With the increased age, we also get an increased amount of individuals who are experiencing dementia, Alzheimer's, and other types of dementia. And we have created new programs to assist in that. We have care managers. Now that this is a new program we're trying, where we kind of walk along the journey with somebody who's living at home, either alone with Alzheimer's or related dementias, or with a support from a spouse or another family caregiver. We emphasize focus on the caregiver to make sure they don't burn out doing the job they're trying to do. And we make sure the person living with Alzheimer's is safe and as the disease progresses, because it's far less expensive to help them stay in their own homes than it is to try to be placed in a memory care or a long-term care facility. So the importance of us doing that is also to help prevent financial exploitation, and we've created a money management program. So people who are at risk of not being able to manage their resources or being exploited by scams, we can provide that safety network of getting their bills paid, making sure they stay within budget. And that's more than, I'm sure you understand, more than people who have Alzheimer's or related dementias that sometimes struggle with that. We also take on older adults who are as representative payees, and we do a variety of other advocacies. You've heard probably more than anything about our Meals on Wheels program, and that has increased substantially between pre-pandemic and through the pandemic. To give you an example, in January, we had 54 new people sign up for Meals on Wheels and another 35 in February. And we just continue to see that number grow. And when you look at the cost of food today, we know that we have to find the resources to continue to serve all of those that are eligible for the program. And that includes people who are under age 60 who meet the same criteria, of which we cannot support with our older Americans funding. We're here for in-home services and a variety of in-home services, whether it's housekeeping, respite, and the other important component of our organization is recognizing the value and expertise of older adults to help solve community problems. And we do that by serving as a broker, per se, for our other nonprofits and governmental agencies in need of support, whether it's the food bank or the museums, including the Historical Museum, and probably 65 other nonprofits that we help place that expertise of older adults who want to give back to the community the opportunity to serve as a volunteer. You probably have also heard of our foster grandparent program, our senior companion program. These are all volunteer service programs helping deal with social isolation that comes with as you age and you start to feel disconnected from your community. So these are just a few of the reasons why we need this support desperately to help us. And I want to emphasize that we do not rely strictly on Missoula County. We do get a diversified funding, and some have increased slightly, but for the most part, they'll hold steady. I will say that the state of Montana is our weakest partner in providing financial support, and we can't do much about that. So I guess I would like to encourage you to think of all of what I've said and what Roberta has said, and will be open to the opportunity to have a public hearing on what we're requesting. I appreciate your time, and I think Roberta would like to say some closing words.
Yes, I just want to emphasize that I appreciate again the time that you have allowed us to spend with you to share the vast amount of knowledge that Susan has with her 39 years of experience. I have had a little less time. I've only been involved with the agency since 2004. I'm in my second stint as a board member, having completed my first one in 2011 and then came back on in 2016. I am too part of the aging population, and I have seen the help that they have provided my parents, and then also what they are seeing for people that are colleagues and friends and associates of mine over the years. I really just feel that I don't think people really truly realize the vast amount of services that Missoula Aging Services really provides. And you have to be associated with it as a volunteer or as a staff person, to really understand the vast amount of what we do for our older adults in this county. And the need is just continuing to grow in so many ways. And the staff and Susan under her leadership have done an excellent job in educating and identifying new services that are needed and trying to implement them. But there are costs associated with all of that. And if we want to continue to be the county and the area that we are so very proud of, we don't want to lose sight of the needs of this specific age of population that is there. So with that, I guess I still encourage and suggest that you take our request seriously and follow through. So I'll open it up now to questions that you might have of Susan or I.
Thank you.
Let me interject, if I may. One of the most important things I was supposed to talk about, I didn't, and will quickly. So in 2007, when we recognized that we had a growing population of aging, we came to the county commissioners to request 2 mills. Unfortunately, during that time, the legislature changed the allowable mill request to only being a dollar amount. And in 2007, the value of 2 mills was $350,000. So that's what we went out for. As you know, it stays stagnant, unlike a mill does, which is growing with the value of the increased value of a mill. And so this proposal would ask to what they call the repeal and replace. So we're asking the voters to repeal the $350,000 and replace it with 4 mills. And a little more, because if we were going to go to the voters, we wanted to make sure that we didn't end up being in the same position we are now with funding, but to have a little cushion because of the incredible growth that we're experiencing. So that's the nature of our repeal and replace, is to repeal the $350,000 that's already been approved by voters, replace it with 4 mills. Now, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
Well, does Matt Leo have anything to add? Or I can't tell, is Matt still on?
Heard he was on.
Where? And there's this bar. I can't
I
read this
know.
bar across.
Yeah.
I know that they had another meeting at 10:30 and that they were not expecting to say anything today unless questions directly to them. They're leaving it to Roberta and I to champion this cause.
Susan, can I ask you a question? This is a bit esoteric. Our support is huge. We obviously recognize the great work y'all have been doing. No question there. You mentioned the 2EC program. Is that property tax relief? And could you describe how it works?
Well, okay, I'm a generalist. I have people who know specifics, but I'll tell you that it's people can come in and get, if they're eligible, a rebate on their what they pay towards their taxes. And I might be saying this incorrectly, and I apologize. I have a couple of resources here with me that I might be able to give you specifics. And let's see. I think the important thing is that it's another system that people can come in and get rebates, and includes renters too.
Includes renters too. And do you feel like the dollar totals, the dollar requirements for this are pretty reasonable?
I do, but the other issue is, with the tax breaks, whatever you call it, tax programs that help people with their taxes, they need to raise that bar, and in general, when we start looking at, and I'm not talking about 2EC, but some of the other programs that use poverty as that baseline, and they also, and 2EC is higher than that, but it's not keeping pace with the growing costs associated with people trying to age in place. And I definitely think more could be done. It's just, you know, the system is slower than the real time and what's going on for people. So that's why we're doing our best to identify, and if we can find some avenues to advocate to increase that income level, we would love to do that.
And that's a state issue, but totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I just have to have a side note that I've often been a person that I don't like mills and bonds because of the impact it has on our overall goal in our county of affordable housing. But it requires the legislature to fix and do tax reform, which they've, for lack of a better word, failed to do. In my,
You said it well.
I would
think you
use
got that
stronger-
correctly.
Yes, I would use stronger language in that, but.
yes, well, I am on camera and it's public, so I'll be careful. But yeah, you know, it's we can't control the legislature. As you know, we advocate, we hope. I know it's a complex issue, but I'm retiring at the end of this month, and I feel strongly that our agency needs to have this additional support to move forward, and we have no control over the legislature. And I'm certainly glad I didn't start holding my breath 39 years ago in the legislature.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I have no questions, knowing that you're going to have to do a complete repeat performance of all of this at the public hearing. One thing to mention at the next time that you come before us, since it doesn't appear as though there's any media on the line, shockingly, today, but just, yeah, I'm not seeing any media there. One thing you might make clear, if folks are wondering, is that by putting this before the voters, it's not risking what you have right now. This is a repeal and replace, such that if voters give that the thumbs down, it's not as though you're going to have repealed what you have right now. And that, I think that's a point worth making.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like some of the challenge on this is around the messaging. Repeal and replace doesn't sound, it's not compelling, and it doesn't talk about all the great stuff that you talked about. That's you outlined all these amazing programs, and Roberta did a great job describing the demographic shift and the increasing need for these programs. There's the compelling message.
And, you know, I know that we're working on that. We stopped as a group using the words repeal and replace because it was confusing. And so I agree with the messaging that can be confusing. And we also have to, you know, we just looked at the fact that we have to, I mean, we want to be transparent that we're replacing that 350,000 with 4 mills, which is not a total of 4 because they're already paying for the 350,000, which, you know, and so what it takes to get up to the 2 mills and add 2 mills is not really paying for 4 mills. It's an increase, but the net to it is much less than 4 mills.
Yeah. That's nothing you want to try and describe in a message.
I'm talking to you guys. So just to say, yes, we are not, we are finding another way for messaging, and Matt's doing a good job of helping us. And
yeah, he's
so,
great.
Yeah, I really appreciate his support and all of yours. You guys have been great over the years.
You have our support.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're very proud of the
Yeah, great. You
organization.
guys do great work. Such necessary work.
Looks like Chorney has his hand up.
Jordy's got a question.
Or did
I think
Hi,
I can,
Andrew.
Gonna get us on the minutia of that repeal and replace.
let me see if I can make repeal and replace really easy to understand. This is what $350,000 is costing a $300,000 home, a $200,000 home, and a $100,000 home today. This is what a $100,000 home is being built for $350,000. The additional cost to the taxpayer after netting out the cost of the mills is $3.69. So the difference between the $3.50 and the additional mills, which is over here, is $3.69. So if I have a $500,000 home, I multiply it here, that's $18.46 annually, or $1.54 a month on a $500,000.
There's your message, Susan.
Yeah.
For $1.50 a month,
$1.54.
all
yeah.
these people get cared for. You could not buy a cup of coffee for that, and all this great work happens.
And I don't think the average taxable value of a home is near $500,000 yet, although it's approaching there.
Very
So
close.
Getting there close. That's a much more sensible thing to say than $100,000 house, which doesn't exist.
yeah. So anyway,
That's great info, Andrew. Thank you.
you bet.
And Andrew's been a great support to us in understanding it and working it out. Yeah, and we're, because we changed our original time frame from November to June, we're scrambling with being clear about messaging. We don't need to scramble about the need. That's clear. I appreciate your input.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that.
Fantastic.
Good luck.
All right, we'll see you
See you
shortly.
next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
all so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Is it,
Upcoming events and invitations? Diana Minetta's going away party tonight?
That was
Yep.
Friday?
Oh,
This is Friday.
this is Friday.
Holy
This
moly.
Yeah,
At Rum Bend,
yes,
whatever that place is.
good works.
Good Works. At what time's it start?
35, 5:30.
Okay, great.
Come to Good Works to mourn and celebrate.
Yeah.
Diana Minetta.
Should we be bringing treats and alcohol? How's that gonna work? Someone putting this on?
I think.
We just
I'm
have to
assuming
show up.
someone is
We
putting
will.
it on.
Okay, well, maybe we can contribute. in some way.
I'm sorry, I need to look on the calendar what time it's supposed to be.
Commissioners, it's 5:30.
5:30, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Have a great Friday, everyone.
All right, goodbye.